Kyodo News English World。
皆さんこんにちは。こちらは共同通信英文記者のポッドキャストです。英文記者は国内外で起きている出来事について取材してオリジナルの英文記事を発信したり、日本語のニュースを英語に翻訳したりしています。共同通信の英語の記事をテーマに、いろんな国から集まる仲間たちと英語と日本語を交えていろいろディスカッションしていけたらと思っています。今日は3人の記者でお届けします。My name is Toma, and I've been at Kyodo News for over 5 years now. I'm a massive bookworm, and today I would like to recommend a retelling of Huckleberry Finn called James by Percival Everett. よろしくお願いします。
Hi there, everyone. My name is Eduardo Martinez, and I've been here at Kyodo News for almost 3 years now. I'm originally from Brisbane, Australia. It's nice to meet you all.
こんにちは、中西梨紗子です。2022年に入社して、5月に海外部に移動してきました。最初の2年間は宇都宮で日本語での記者をしておりました。よろしくお願いします。
So for today's episode, we will be discussing an article written by Ed, who recently came back from covering the Paralympic Games in Paris. Can you read the headline for us?
Sure. Japan's Oda wins first singles wheelchair gold.
ありがとうございます。パラリンピックの車いすテニスシングルズで金メダルを獲得した小田凱人さんが優勝した時の話ですね。では最初のスーパラをお願いします。
はい。Japan's Tokito Oda became the youngest ever men's singles wheelchair tennis gold medalist at the Paralympics on Saturday, when the 18-year-old staved off a match point to beat world number 1 Alfie Hewitt of Britain 6-2, 4-6, 7-5. Oda, in his first Paralympics, started strong to claim the first set on the red clay of Roland Garros with relative ease, before the Britons squared the match in a tense second. I've reminded myself that this is what I was born for, Oda, the reigning French Open champion, said. Once Hewitt faltered, I realized the match could be mine.
Thank you. So, Ed, you just came back from Paris.
Mm-hmm.
How was the experience?
It was very crazy. It was a really intense, almost couple of weeks that I was there. From Kaigaibu, I was the only English language reporter from Kyodo. It was a very packed schedule, but I saw some really incredible sports, and I was really glad I got to cover a lot of different things. In particular, this match.
So did you see the match?
Yourself? Yeah. I went to see it myself. I think it was quite highly anticipated that Oda would make the final. Because he was world number 2 and Alfie Hewitt was world number 1. Yeah, we knew that they would make it. It was quite well known that they would likely make it to the final. I went and saw the game. I'll be honest, I didn't know much. I don't know much about tennis or wheelchair tennis beforehand, so I tried to do my research and everything. But even if you don't know much about it, just the atmosphere of the game, and it was just really, it was electrifying, really. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with tennis either, but Hewitt, he reached what is called a match point, so he was at a point where if he got one more point, then he would have won the game. So it looked like the gold medal was all but his, but then Oda really just rebounded, and it was just a really edge of your seat kind of game. And it's tennis matches, they can last for a while. This match lasted more, like 2.5 hours, something like that. Yeah, so it was really you could see they were both. I mean, world number 1 and world number 2, they were fighting really tooth and nail to for the title. But just seeing Oda kind of make that comeback and then eventually win, it was just everyone. All the crowd, the reaction from the crowd, and then even all the other journalists I was with afterwards who were like, we've never seen a game like this. That was crazy. It was a really, really spectacular match. Yeah.
So the game could have been either one of them could have won. It was very evenly matched.
Yeah. You could. I mean, you could see that they're two very talented athletes, at the top of their game. And Oda is just 18, right? So he's you can see that he's very gifted for what he, being in his first Paralympic Games and everything. Yeah, they were very evenly matched, and just the previous day, he had gotten silver against Hewitt in the doubles, men's doubles. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So Japan had gotten silver and Britain had gotten gold in the men's doubles, and so now it was the men's singles. So I'm sure that was in the back of his mind as well. I need to get this gold. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just and then wheelchair tennis. Again, I wasn't too well versed on tennis in general, but with wheelchair tennis, I guess when it comes to the rules with non-wheelchair tennis, there's almost no difference other than the fact that you're in a wheelchair, and that the ball is allowed to bounce twice on the opponent's side of the court.
Okay.
But even then, just the tennis court is the same size. It's at Roland Garros, which is where the French Open is played. It's a very famous tennis site.
Yeah.
And just seeing the way that even in a wheelchair, just how nimble you can be, and although he was like, I mean, you can't see me doing it, but although it was kind of like backhanding the ball a lot, like he was like spinning around and backhanding the ball, and I was just like, how do you do that in a wheelchair? It's crazy. So it was really impressive.
Why is it that they allow the ball to bounce twice on the court?
I guess simply because there is you do move a bit slower in a wheelchair compared to just being on two legs. So I think that's just the one major adjustment that they've made compared to non-wheelchair tennis. But aside from that, I think the game functions almost exactly like a non-wheelchair tennis match. Yeah, but among all the sports I watched during the Paralympics, that was the most impressive, I think, for me.
Nakanishi-san, did you watch any of the games at the Paralympics?
Yeah, I watched on the news.
Were there any sports that you were particularly interested in?
I was interested in the blind football.
Blind football. Yeah. Blind football was very interesting as well. It was it's played completely silently, because obviously, so the players, they have to rely on their sense of hearing and touch as opposed to, because they can't see the ball. And they have varying degrees of vision impairments, but they also wear shades so that so that competition is fair. And the ball it makes a sound, has like a rattle in it. But one observation I kind of made actually was that tennis is also played silently for the most part. While the athletes are competing, you're not meant to make any noise unless they score a point. And blind soccer was the same. It's like, just please stay quiet until they score a goal, and then when they score, then you can go crazy. So I was like, it's not that different. I mean,
I imagine that takes a lot of restraint from the audience. It's like it's really when you're at the edge of your seat, you just want to scream. And it's like,
it was very, very exciting. Yeah, especially for blind soccer as well. Like the venue was outside as well. It was at Champ de Mars, which is it was at the foot of the Eiffel Tower, and then from the press tribune, you had this stunning view of the tower in front of you, and then the football field below you. Yeah, it was just the atmosphere was amazing.
Yeah, I imagine it's amazing for both the audience and the spectators and the actual contestants and the athletes. You get to enjoy the view and also be pumped for your game.
Yeah. I think that, and that's what the organizers in Paris, they really wanted to showcase the city's famous landmarks. So
makes sense.
Yeah, so, and they have a lot of them. So they had a lot of events at all these very cool and interesting venues. So yeah, it was very, very cool.
パリに行った時に一番印象に残ってることは何ですか?
Aside from Oda's game, I saw a couple of other victories for Japan. They won their first wheelchair rugby gold medal as well. But it was, they won wheelchair medal gold against the United States, which was a very, very good game. I saw men's goalball win gold as well, which goalball is one of the two sports in the Paralympics that don't have an Olympic equivalent. And it's kind of similar to blind soccer in the sense that it's played silently and you play with a ball that has makes a sound. And very similarly, like you rely on your senses of touch and hearing to play. It's kind of like, how do I explain it? Like kind of like a version of handball for visually impaired people, where they have a ball and they're trying to throw it into a goal and on their opponent's side of the court. But the goal is it's set quite low, so the players kind of lie on their sides on the court, so that when the ball is thrown towards them and they're trying to protect it from going into their own goal, they're using almost their whole bodies to shield the ball from going into the goal. So that was it's a very, like, I would say, very emblematic Paralympic sport. And yeah, it was very, very interesting to watch and a very, very great game to watch as well.
Have either of you ever tried any of the Paralympic Games before? Not gone to the Paralympic Games, but like done some of the sports that are played there?
No,
I don't think I have. I think I've tried one of the like sports wheelchairs before, and they are sort of designed to be much lighter and easier to move around.
Yeah, I've also tried the wheelchair, and it's amazing how light it is.
How easily you can move around, right? Yeah. But it was and just the fact that, that Paris is a very beautiful city. It was my first time there, so I was just
it was your first time?
Yeah, it was my first time there, so it was a great experience for me, honestly. And just again, the way they organized the events was so that you could take in a lot of the famous landmarks while you were there, and it was just very, really nice to just see all these different parts of the city. It was really, really cool.
Nakanishi-san, is there any sport that you would like to try in the Paralympics, maybe?
Oh, this is a good question. I might want to try the wheelchair tennis. Because I've never experienced the wheelchair before.
So I think you mentioned before about the accessibility in Paris. So how has that changed?
Yeah, so with the Paralympics, every time they're hosted, the accessibility in the host city tends to become a big issue, a big topic. So what Paris did was it made its overground transport system completely accessible. So like buses and trams now have ramps and things for wheelchair users to be able to use them. But one big issue was the Paris metro. It still hasn't been made fully accessible. In fact, only a very small part of it is. And they've said that because Paris is such it has a lot of old buildings, a lot of architectural heritage, and construction, could be, and the amount of time and effort it would take to construct these things could also, impact, quality of life around the areas and things. But at the same time, everyone wants to use the metro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they announced a plan that over the next 20 years, that they will make the metro accessible. And it seems as though it was due to the Paralympics happening. So, if it's still a long way away, but if they're able to achieve that, then that would be a very positive outcome for the city, I think. And I guess, you're walking around Paris, and sometimes, it's because it is older, you have some cobblestone streets, and it's
not the most
wheelchair
friendly.
Exactly. So, but you can see that they really tried to address that during the games as well, and they added like an extra 1,000 wheelchair accessible taxis as well for the games as well. And then of course for the venues, they made them as accessible as possible, and that was really lovely to see. Just the people of all abilities moving around. I think that was the whole point of one of the aims of the Paralympics is like to show you that a better world is possible, and you really felt that at the time at the games. There was some really, really lovely moments there where I was like, oh, this is really, really nice. Yeah.
Is there anything you miss since coming back
Ooh. I mean,
Very broad question.
Living in Japan, I love Japanese food, but I hadn't had that much bread and cheese in a long time, and espresso coffee. So I definitely took advantage of that while I was in Paris. So I enjoyed that, and yeah, just again, it was my first time there, so it was a beautiful city, and I'd like to go back maybe one day. Yeah, that's great.
では時間に なってきましたので、共同通信では共同ニュースプラスというサイトで日本や世界で起きた出来事について英語のニュースを発信しています。今日ご紹介した記事も掲載されていますので、ぜひチェックしてみてください。それでは皆さん、
See you next time!